Chargers fans and even Chargers haters, I have the mother of all trade scenarios that the Chargers could explore next week in the NFL draft for 2026. You're not going to believe it. It's going to blow your mind. Let's get into it. Y'all not ready for this. I'm going to tell you this right now. You're not ready for this. I'm back. I'm back from vacation, back from my springtime cold. You might still hear it a little bit, but I could not wait any longer to get this out. I did 2 draft scenarios because there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of talk about the Chargers trading down. A lot of, I guess you can say sports talk media, the big time media, solo podcasts, lower level, Chargers podcasts. I don't want to disrespect anybody for saying lower level, but we know, there's levels to this. There's tiers to this. And a lot of people, I guess you can say collectively all talking trade down, especially if the heir apparent, the best guard in the draft or the best edge rusher in the draft that the Chargers could get at 22 is not available. Your King Mesidor or your Awani Vegas is not there at 22. They should think about trading down. Now, can they find a suitable partner? I might have found one. So I got 2 scenarios here that I'm going to break that could potentially happen. And this is all based on PFF rating. There's point system, what they deem fair trading in this environment. And they went for all of it. If it hit every time I tried to trade, and I just really couldn't miss. So I had to share it to see if this was something the Chargers fans could get behind with a trade down scenario. So let's talk about it. So we're going to give you the appetizer. We will give you the main course. So if you recall, there were some rumors about Brian Thomas being available from the Jaguars. There was talks about, he could potentially be traded, the idea that him and Leon Cohen and that regime wasn't vibing or weren't jiving. And he took a massive dip from the Doug Peterson era to the Leon Cohen era, and he really just wasn't fitting well with the offense, had a lot of drops, but he had a great rookie season. A kid has talent. And the hell, I wanted him, when the Chargers were drafting, in that space when he was drafted a couple of years ago. But the kid can play. I mean, that is not a question at all. I would argue talent-wise, and outside of the air quote drops last year, maybe a confidence thing, I really don't believe that he would be a detriment to the team. In all honesty, adding him to this roster, without a clear number one, I think he could slide into that role. So if he's made available, and the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick, obviously, and let's say hypothetically somebody they really want to get their hands on in the first round that the Chargers are looking at in that particular space, they could get on the phone and talk to him and maybe send Brian Thomas over to the Chargers for their 22nd overall pick. And what that would garner in compensation would be they would send us Brian Thomas. They would send us their 2nd round pick was at 56. They would give us their 4th round pick at 124 and their 5th at 164. So that would give us a total of 2 seconds, 2 fourths, and a 5th for the trade for our 22nd overall. So what does that garner in regards to what that would get us in talent space, who I would draft with all those picks? So here it is. So right off the bat, I'm drafting Chase Pasantis at 55. He's available at 55. I'm taking him. I will definitely get that guard in place because I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody can defend Cole Strange, or Harbaugh can defend Cole Strange already. I heard all that stuff while I was on vacation. I didn't get to address it. I'm addressing it now. I'll be damned if we roll Cole Strange out in this offense if I'm the GM. So we're drafting Chase Pasantis to fill that void at right guard. The hell with Cole Strange in that space. I can't do it. Bill Belichick tried to sell us on the idea that he was a first-round pick. He was never that. Hell, the Rams had him listed as the 5th round pick and they're bored, and they were shocked that he picked them in the first round. And everybody's trying to give this guy, chance after chance after chance because he's a first round pick. I'm not buying it. So he was abysmal in the times he'd been in the league. I mean, hell, he was on a practice squad before Mike McDaniel gave him a chance in Miami. Now he's with the Chargers. I can't do it. Definitely can't do Trey Pipkin either. That's we've seen it, done that. Unfortunately, have the T-shirt. We don't want to wear it, so we're drafting Chase Basadas with that first pick. The second round pick, I'm going after Treydon Stukes. Treydon Stukes is a true hybrid DB. He's a jack of all trades. I would argue that he'd be a more athletic and cover-based guy like a Derwin James would be. He can play corner, but he's a true safety. So you can literally line him up at the other slot or line him. You can mix and match him with him and Derwin at the slot space. Leave Cam Hart and Dante and or Tarheeb on the outside. You can roll them up, use him as a box safety and or slot corner, guarding tight ends and or slot receivers, or he can play deep halves of the field in our quarter scheme. Listen, when just turn the tape on and watch Treydon Stukes play coverage, and ladies and gentlemen, hear me when I say this kid can play football at any position. And if we happen to hit an impasse with Derwin his new contract, and there's something, a bump in the road comes in that space, you got a ready-made filler. He's already ready to go, and he's already been in the system for 1 year. And I guarantee you, Chris O'Leary will be salivating at the idea of getting this guy at the second round pick at 56 for sure, 100%. Then I'm going into the third round. I'm getting Jake Slaughter, the future center of this team, the left guard. He's going to play left guard for us until Tyler Biadasz is done. We're going to keep Tyler Biadasz at center, keep Jake Slaughter at guard, kind of like what the Eagles did with their guys until their center retired. Kelsey, Kelsey retired, and they moved Cam Jerkins over to center. So we're going to do that. So you solidify the guard position with Basadas and Slaughter, and he's going to be those are going to be our two guards. And Basadas is going to play center until he's done. And then we'll move Slaughter over to center, and then we'll get another guard in the left spot. But I refuse to have Trey Pipkins and Cole Strange blocking for Justin Herbert. You're legit asking for a remixed version of what happened last year if you do that. Let's just be real about it. I'm just going to say it. It is what it is. So then we go back in and get another weapon for Justin Herbert in the fourth round in Jacoby Lane. Big-time playmaker receiver out of USC. Now, he got overshadowed a lot because Mekhi Lemon was just an absolute stud of a yak receiver there. But tall, rangy, speedy, big-time X receiver, a guy that you can line up because we don't know exactly what Quentin Johnston's going to be or not going to be. We still got this fifth-year option looming and things of that nature. So you go out and get Jacoby Lane with an extra fourth-round pick. Pick him up, your dominant X receiver, your one-on-one guy, your big-time catch guy. Jacoby Lane can fill that void 100%. We're talking about an upgraded version of Mike Williams. Can't pass up at all. Then back into the fourth round again, Albert Regis, who I've been talking about glowingly on this channel, who's a really good run-stopping D lineman. We need depth there. You got Tier Tart, you got Caldwell, you got Justin Eboigbe. Yes, those are starters. We need depth with him and Tomlinson. I'm not sure what he's going to be, but I promise you, Albert Regis can play today and be a run-stopping DC for this defense. Then in the fifth round, I'm getting Caden Curry. We need an edge rusher. We need depth there. We got Thule and Khalil for at least this year. Thule should be getting a new contract soon. You got to develop Cal Kennard and Caden Curry simultaneously, and that's your future, a young future, guys that are legit under 25, developing into your dominant edge rushers on that other side of Thule. Once he gets signed, that's a slam dunk there in the fifth round. And then I guess you can say another value pick in the sixth with Daquan Wright, a legit speedy seam running tight end that can be opposite of OG, that you can legit have two big 6'4", 6'5" bodies running down the seams for Justin Herbert and being these big targets in the red zone and in, first down territories. So, yes, I mean, again, you can't miss on none of these picks that I've gotten. I think they will fit right in with the Chargers scheme. And that's just I guess one trade that we're doing with Brian Thomas and getting another receiver. So you're talking about the idea of having Jacoby Lane, Brian Thomas, potentially Quentin Johnston if you don't trade him, Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, and Keandre Lambert-Smith. That's a great receiving core for Mike McDaniel to do his numbers with. With Mario Hampton and Kamani Vidal in the backfield, I love that. And the O-line is completely fixed. How could you argue it? But again, let me know in the comments what you think about it. Do you have any knocks on these guys? Anything that you see as a negative? I'm willing to listen. But I think there's a really good haul just for a Brian Thomas trade. And again, that was just the appetizer. Are you full? I hope not, because I got the main course coming for you right now. This is going to be a good one. Get ready. Buckle up. So I'm going to give you the criteria first, and I'm going to tell you what I got after that. It's a lot, so get ready. So here it is. The mother of all trade down scenarios. We're trading down into the first round with the team at the bottom half of the draft. We're going to trade up into the fifth round with the capital we get from the trade down. And we're also going to trade Quentin Johnston, so we don't have to worry about the idea of his exercising this fifth year option or not. Because I will say this real quick caveat about the fifth year option. If you're not sure, solid, and ironclad on the idea that you want to keep him, the fifth year option thing is weird. Because if you don't exercise it, the player kind of looks as if it's a make or break year. They put a lot of pressure on themselves, and he doesn't feel like the team has faith in him in a sense, so it might really just tank his ability to play because he's pressing too hard. So you don't get to see exactly who he is or who he isn't. If you give him the faith, he goes out and plays like normal, and then it's cool. But do you want to invest that money is the question. How do you feel about him? So it's just weird in that dynamic. So if you don't feel like you want to exercise the option, kind of like what he did with Zion Johnson, you let him walk. If you don't exercise the option, he's going to look at it from a perspective of he might want to be traded. So let's just get ahead of it. Let's trade him. We get draft capital for him in this draft and next potentially, and we can get things done. So we're going to trade down, trade up, and then trade a player. And this is what we're going to get. So I get on the phone with the Seahawks. I say, send me the 32nd overall pick, a third, which is pick 96, a sixth round pick, which is 188, and a 2027 fourth round pick for our 22nd. That's going to get me an extra third, move down in the first. I'm still in the first round. I get an extra six, and I get a 2027 fourth round pick for the 22nd overall pick. They want to move up and maybe they want to get their hands on it. He's not going to be there at 32. They move up 10 spots. I'm cool with it. They're cool with it. PFF agree with it. Let's get it done. Then subsequently after that, once I secure that, I'm going to get on the phone with the Detroit Lions at some point and say, hey, I got 2 6-round picks here, 188 and 204. I can bundle those up and give you those for your fifth at 157. PFF says that's cool. We'll take it. We move back up into the fifth round and move up into the draft to get a fifth round pick at 157. And lastly, I get on the phone to the Falcons. I say, hey, Quentin Johnston's available. He'd be a really good pairing with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Do you want him, Kevin Stefanski? So if you do, send me a third and a fourth this year and a 2027 sixth, and I'll send you Quentin Johnston. And PFF said that'll work as well. So I get a third and a fourth this year and a sixth next year from the Falcons. So holistically, I move down first, 2 thirds to go along with the third I have already, a fourth and a fifth. And Quentin Johnston is now gone. So what does that garner me in regards to who we pick up? So like I said, we got pick 1, 2, 3 thirds, 2 fourths, and a fifth. So that's what we have in that particular haul. So who did we go out and get? So clearly we're still in the first round. So Emmanuel Pregnon is still available at 32, and I'm taking him. Clearly Vega is gone, so that's a pipe dream at this point. He might be a pipe dream at 22. He's definitely a pipe dream at 32. We take Emmanuel Pregnon, the best zone blocking guard in this draft. You take him, you line him up next to Posadas, and we're good to go there. Secondly, I'm going after Tre'Davious Stukes again. I'm not passing on him at the second round either. He's an absolute stud. We talked about him a little bit earlier. He's an absolute stud in this particular defense. He can play anywhere, corner, safety, slot, you name it. A freakish athletic specimen, 4.2, 4.3 speed type of runner. I mean, quick, fast twitch agility. I mean, I can go on and on about this kid, just breaking him down and how he's a good bona fide football player from Arizona. You get that done. Then in the third round, I'm going to get Rashawn Benny from Michigan, the run-stopping DT, the 5-tech DT from Michigan. He won't be a nose. He'll be a DN like Tier Tart and Oborgby is now. So he'll be a backfield for that particular position, developing into a starter once we lose Tart or Thomason is the backup, whatever the case may be. So he'll be a rotational guy early as we develop him into a starter. Then I'm going to get Jake Slaughter again. I'm not passing on him as well. Your future center. Again, getting a legit center is very underrated thing about O-line play in the league. It really is. Having a really good center, whether he plays guard for a while or not, once he folds into that center for Justin Herbert for his prime of his career, we're going to be happy about it. We're talking Corey Linsley-like arc that Jay Slaughter can have. So you got to solidify and get it when you can. I'm doing it at 86, getting Jake Slaughter in at the third round, 86 pick. At pick 96, I'm going to get an interior linebacker to do with backfill whatever we're doing with Denzel Perryman and Junior Colson. I'm not sure. Now, we need somebody to go next to Dayon and be a full-time starter. And I feel like Keyshawn Elliott at that pick at 96 is going to be a really good starter for that out of Arizona State. Really good, well-rounded linebacker, about 232 pounds, about 6'2". I mean, we talking a bona fide interior, weak side interior linebacker to go along with Dayon. I think that's a match made in heaven. Once we figure out if Junior Colson can play or not, and Denzel Perryman's injury history, we got to address that. So we need depth there. If nothing else, he'll be a special teams guy early on, and then he'll carve out a lane to play against Dayon at some point. I think that we draft him in the third round and get him in there. And if Denzel Perryman and Colson get hurt because they both got injury concerns, you roll Keyshawn Elliott right there. You trial by fire and learn on the go, learn on the job, sir. And we're lining them two up together, and they're going to be together for a good while because we're going to re-sign Dayon. So a long-term deal, hopefully soon. So that'll be our inside linebacker pair, one young, one veteran. We're good to go. And again, going back into the fourth round, we're getting Bew Stevens. I'm doubling down on this O-line. I'm doubling and tripling down on this O-line with the guys that we have to be able to pick in this particular aspect. I'm getting Bew Stevens, another savvy guard that can go to the right side next to Biotish. Depending on what Pregnon or Slater does, who basically is who wants the job the most in the kind of situation. And I feel like if you were in a pinch, having that depth and having that skill level with Steven, Slaughter, and Pregnon, you might get into a situation because Pregnon is so athletic. If you need a tackle because Slater or goes out for any particular reason, you can have a swing tackle conversation with Pregnon and put Slater and Bew Stevens in the guards, and you have Biotish in the center. So it's a I guess you can say it's a value pick, but it's a depth pick, and it's a really solid depth pick because Bew Stevens is a really good interior lineman out of Iowa. Then I'm going back and get Jacoby Lane in the fourth round with 123 right behind that. Again, another receiver because we lost Quentin Johnson in this conversation, so we got to get another receiver to backfill his role in the true X, that Quentin Johnson we thought might be or may not be. We don't know exactly what he is or isn't. Clearly not a bona fide number one, but if Jacoby Lane's going to fill that spot, I feel comfortable there. And then around out of the fifth round, I'm getting Caden Curry again. I'm getting Caden Curry again to line up with that edge group and develop into, our dominant pass rusher, a lunch pail guy that comes to bring to the party his best effort each and every day. So, hey, that is a match made in heaven. That is great value for this particular aspect of it. We getting every position of need addressed in a large space, everything from wide receiver to guard to edge, linebacker. We did it all here. And we didn't give up anything substantial. If you think about it, we didn't give up a first round pick. We're still in the first round with Pregnon. We got a second, 3/3, 2/4, a fifth, got draft capital for next year. This is a match made in heaven. If this can be pulled off, and they gave me a B overall in this particular grade, I think it's better than that. If we can pull this off, we're out of here as a Chargers fans. We could definitely, the front office, light the cigars, pop the champagne. You did your big one here, ladies and gentlemen. From Ortiz to Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel and company to the Hispanos, y'all did your big one if y'all can swing this scenario. And there it is, man. So tell me in the comments how you feel about this. Tell me exactly how you think this could play out. Can it play out? Will it not? How you like these players? These guys have been kind of highlighting throughout my coverage here in the offseason. So tell me what you feel about these guys in the comments, man. And we're going to do a couple of videos coming up here leading up to the draft, which is about a little over a week away. We're going to break down a few guys position-wise that I like and I don't like, and I'll tell you why. We're going to talk about some edge rushers. We're going to talk about some interior linemen, just guys that we stick and pick and we don't do any trades, guys that could fall to us and guys that have been talked about in spaces a lot of times on social media and whether if people feel they're good or not. And I've had some issues with certain guys that have, certain issues with their skill set that they need developing on, and certain guys are just slam dunks. So we're going to break those down. We're going to talk about edges, rushers, interior linemen specifically, and a few other positions that we're going to get into between now and the draft. So stay tuned for all of that. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. YouTube, I don't even know we're doing big things out there. Have this podcast moving, go to higher heights and deeper depths. And we'll be back with another video in the next couple of days, man. So in the meantime, in between time, you got to do one thing and one thing well. You always got to remember to bolt up.